All right, Jules, we're going to sort of project out what Thomas Tuchel can bring and winners and losers. But I want to go back to one of the other big accusations against Nagelsmann. This business with the development of youngsters. Yeah. So when Khan and Hasan Salihamidzic spoke, they were generic about it. And by the way, I will say this about the two of them. They owned the decision. They came out and they spoke and they took questions on it, which seems obvious, but there are some people who, after they sack a manager, go and hide and don't bring their decision. So at least they went out there, defended it. I think they own the decision. I think if it screws up, if it goes badly, I think they'll be out of jobs, especially Khan. Brazo seems to have a way of always like those roaches under your thing. Like he's invulnerable. He's Teflon. But this accusation about the development of younger players, I was really curious about this because it's not easy to develop young players at a big club. But when I look at this, the young players that we're talking about, right? So Ryan Gravenberch is the obvious one.
Yeah.
Because, highly rated at Ajax, came over.
25 million.
He's hardly played.
Yeah.
Right? He's hardly played. Now, I would argue it's difficult to get on the pitch when your other midfielders at the start of the season were Joshua Kimmich, who's obviously going to play every minute of every game if he's fit. Goretzka, who, has a good partnership with him. Often he's moved Jamal Musiala into a deeper position. These are really good established players. Early in the season, you had Sabitzer as well, who came with him from Leipzig, now on loan at United. So this idea that he hasn't developed into the next Pogba or whatever the heck he was supposed to be, I can live with that a little bit. The other names that have been brought up, and again, they don't bring this up directly. Their friends in the media write the names for them, but it's two guys from the Bayern youth team who I'm not familiar with.
Another
one.
one.
Maybe these guys are really, really good, right? But let me tell you who. Oh, and the other one, Matthijs Tel. Again, Matthijs Tel, he's 17 years old. He's made 21 appearances this season. I don't. What were you thinking? Oh, we've sold Lewandowski. Let's play Matthijs Tel up front.
He rarely started, to be fair. I think he could have had a few more starts. But yeah, he won't be too unhappy by his game.
He's 17 years old.
Yeah, but he's very, very good.
Okay, yeah, but how many 17-year-old
not
center
many.
forward? Okay, that's fine.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
All of a sudden, he's a second coming. But the other ones, right? Matthijs de Ligt, a lot better than he was, right?
Yeah.
He certainly has grown. Jamal Musiala goes from strength to strength. Would he have done it if he were
any manager?
Under any manager? Sean Dyche, he's a Nagelsmann, fine, but he certainly hasn't stunted Musiala's development. So then Stanisic, another one, right? Early in the season, whatever. He's been really good when he's played.
Yeah.
So when I look at this and I say, well, wait a minute, who are we missing out? What moves the needle here?
I know, but you've been in this game for long enough to know that they will always going to
find excuses.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. So this part of it is an excuse because I can get you the development thing, right? I can get the idea that even though we, as in Ollie and Brazo, we decided to get the club to give him by the way, they gave him a 5-year contract, which is pretty much unprecedented for managers, right? Nobody gets a 5-year contract, right? We made this massive commitment, and then we've decided that, we got it wrong. We're not developing on the results and team.
Yeah.
But maybe I can give you that. But now you're going to attack him for the development
it's
of
the
the
same
youngsters?
issues as the Tuchel might have gone to Real Madrid.
Okay, so we put that in the same category as a nonsense Muppet
Maybe not so much
excuse.
because I can see the point about Matthijs Tel to start with. The other two, not so sure. I don't know about Gravenberch. Attitude maybe to training, to Nagelsmann's discipline, to Nagelsmann's methods, all of that. We're not always there on the training ground. But
on the result side, does the fact that they sold Robert Lewandowski and didn't replace him or replace him?
But Nagelsmann was very happy to let Robert Lewandowski go.
Did he say, I'm very happy to let Robert Lewandowski go without signing another center forward when at my previous club I had a whole gaggle on them from Poulsen to Andre Silva to whatever?
No, maybe not.
I'm going to readapt Sadio Mane. Did he say that?
Well, I think he was on board with that because remember they didn't want to play with a proper number 9 until quite late in the season. He started with that 4-2-2-2 with Mane and Müller and and Musiala playing behind and Koeman and all of that, not really wingers.
Yeah,
so
because
he
rather
changed
than
his mind.
playing with Choupo-Moting, he said, I'd rather play with these guys who are good.
I'm really not sure that he wanted desperately a number 9 to replace Lewandowski. I think he was happy to let Lewandowski go and do what he had in his mind. At the time was very different.
And then Mane has also been injured too.
Yeah. No, but I think in the way Nagelsmann, I think like if Nagelsmann reflects on it and he's honest, he will see the flaws that he had in the last 18 months. I think he will also see the good things that he did. But was he really, when he sacked the goalkeeping coach, when he sacked Manuel Neuer's best mate, could he have maybe waited for the summer? And that's the thing about Nagelsmann. I think he's a genius. There's no doubt. I think tactically, he's great mind.
But you can't have it both ways. You don't think that Khan and Brazo were on board with the sacking?
Yeah, no, maybe they were. But
so it's kind of like, I don't know. I just think there's been a bit of a failing of the collective and the collective responsibility here. Unless, and I've floated this before, unless something happened that we do not know about, which is always the possibility. Unless there's something, we haven't heard Nagelsmann's version yet.
Yeah.
Unless some news comes out, which made it impossible for the club to continue, and they had to act now, which is always a possibility. Because I'll tell you what, weird, unexpected things happen in football.
But for example, I was not too familiar with the story that Julian Nagelsmann's girlfriend used to work for Bild covering Bayern Munich, and the fact that now they're together, apparently again, one of the stories planted in the papers in Germany was that the dressing room was not too happy that there was a journalist, not married, but living with Julian Nagelsmann that, maybe you talk to, etc., etc.
It's funny because who is Mrs. Well, I don't think they were married, but who is Thomas Tuchel's longtime companion? What did she do for a living?
Yeah, exactly. So
no, say it because people might not understand it. She was a sports journalist, yeah?
Exactly.
Okay, no. So I'm just checking,
Germany.
right?
Yeah, no, but same with
so this one good, that one bad. Come on.
Tuchel has had a flat in Munich for years now, okay? But where did he decide to go back and live a few weeks ago, a few months ago?
Walk his dog around the outside of the Sabener Strasse, saying
all of that, I feel a bit.
Plus, he's so tall and lanky that you can see it from far away. Like Munich is a pretty low-rise city.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.